Alright, what's up YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Just wanted to touch on Brandon Rios and his retirement claims real quick. He's just recently lost to Tim Bradley this past weekend. Ninth round stoppage. Bradley hit him with a good body shot. Then went on with a little flurry and Brandon Rios went down. Didn't really seem to recover from that body shot. Got back up and Bradley put him back down, okay? Very surprising ending, but if you really look at it now, really notice some of the things leading up to that fight in the past week or so. Brandon Rios didn't really seem into it, okay? He went into the weigh-in a little overweight, but he looked in much better shape in that Mike Alvarado third fight. And he just didn't seem into it. I don't know what it was. Even right before the fight, when they were in each other's locker rooms, and he just didn't seem into it, okay? Bradley, on the other hand, man, I wanted to make a video on this because I did a video where I spoke on how Bradley could be in danger fighting Brandon Rios. Very dangerous fight, especially Rios looking so impressive in his last performance and Bradley haven't really looked impressive in his most recent fights. But I did make a point about Teddy Atlas, okay, and their relationship. And I said, like, a lot of people weren't happy with the whole Joel Diaz thing. But the thing about it, the point that I tried to make was that the relationship at Joel Diaz, their chemistry wasn't there. Tim Bradley was not listening to this guy. And I saw a very good interview on Dante Boxing Nation's channel where they were interviewing Tim Bradley and Teddy Atlas a couple of days before the fight. And I saw this interview and, Tim Bradley was trying to explain how everything went as far as them linking up. And, you can tell that he was very happy and excited. And he actually explained how he went into the camp with a different mindset. Whereas he's not just working a bag and cutting weight and it was just a different, like, he was actually learning in this camp. And Teddy Atlas was actually making him work on his discipline, and while he was sparring he would yell at him and made sure that he stuck to the game plan. And this is something that we didn't see while Bradley was with Joel Diaz for whatever reason, okay? A lot of people went and attacked his wife and everything that happened between him and his wife and her influence on firing Julio Diaz, or Joel Diaz, I'm sorry. I didn't really get into that like in my video because I don't really know what's going on between those two and their relationship privately. But with that being said, I think Brandon Rios fought the worst. Brandon Rios fought the best Tim Bradley at this stage of his career. And we saw the outcome. It was a stoppage. Extremely unpredictable stoppage, okay? Even with a overweight, out of shape Brandon Rios, who would have ever thought Tim Bradley, of all people, a guy that lacks punching power, would have stopped him? Okay, and it's very disappointing because Brandon Rios looked very good, and he, one thing I remember him saying after he beat Michael Alvarado in that third fight is that, he was his training camp was very intense, and that he was gonna not have these long gaps of not training and being in the gym. And after he lost this fight, he went and said, Zach said this exact thing that he said he wasn't going to do, is that he was in training and he just wasn't motivated, And when you're not motivated and you're getting paid this kind of money to be in this fight, on HBO as a headliner, you should retire at this point. You should retire because why keep fighting? You're taking all this damage, you get hit a lot. Your speech is slurred, you look You're not aging well, you know, from looking on the face and all the damage that's done. Why keep fighting? You know, you made your money, you made your mark in the sport. You know, people enjoyed your fights. You know, you had a great war, a great trilogy with Mike Alvarado. Why continue at this point if it's not in you no more? And I think he should retire at this point, you know. And I think he wasted a lot of people's time with this fight, you know. But as far as Tim Bradley, he looked great, and um, it worked between him and Teddy Atlas. You know, it definitely worked, and I would love to see him fight Kell Brook. You know, I would really love to see that fight. Obviously, I would love to see the fight between the winner between Tim was Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. Those would be great fights. But Tim Bradley against any type welterweight right now would be a great fight, you know. But I would really love two fights that I would love to see. You know, I hear this Canelo Alvarez Miguel Cotto winner fight. Uh, I would love to watch Tim Bradley fight Miguel Cotto specifically. Okay, uh, just two guys that obviously Tim Bradley didn't fight Mayweather, but he's pretty much for everyone else, right? For the most part, you know, some of the younger guys obviously he didn't fight. That's part of with Al Heyman, but outside of that, he's pretty much for every other top welterweight that's out there. And I think Miguel Cotto and Tim Bradley, as far as their styles, it just makes sense to me. Um, if Miguel Cotto is to win this fight, and he doesn't fight Triple G, which he won't, and they vacate the title, and he's stuck whether he wants to fight at 154 or whatever weight he stays at. I don't know what Miguel Cotto's gonna do. I don't even know if he's gonna win the fight. But I wouldn't be mad at that fight. I would love to see a Tim Bradley Miguel Cotto fight or a Kell Brook fight. Either one of those fights are great to me. Those are probably the best Tim Bradley fights that could be made, in my opinion, based on what I want to see. I'm not so crazy about the Canelo fight. Something about that fight, I'm not. It's like I don't want to. I'm tired of seeing Canelo fight smaller guys, you know. And I'm not saying that I don't think Tim could beat him. It's just that if Tim doesn't win that fight, I just tired of Canelo beating smaller guys, you know. Um, I know he stepped up in competition, but he hasn't won a fight where he clearly won against bigger guys with good boxing ability. Not like Angulo, not like James Kirkland. You know, he hasn't really looked impressive. He didn't really look that impressive against Trout. He didn't look impressive against Laurie. He didn't look impressive against Floyd. And I don't know how he's going to look against Cotto. So we could speak more on that when that fight actually happens. But a lot of options open for Tim Bradley right now. You know, and too bad he didn't fight Floyd, you know, because I think he's one of the few people that really deserved that fight. And, you know, I really wish that fight would have happened, you know, whether win or lose, you know, it's just he deserved a really big shot, all right? So anyway, I know I'm late on speaking on this whole thing. You know, I hope Bam Bam retires and stay retired. If he doesn't and he wants to come back, I'm sure they're gonna find a way to try to get him in the ring with Provodnikov because a lot of fans of brawlers always wanted to see that fight. Um, I think Brandon is obviously a lot more vulnerable now, being that he's gotten knocked out by a guy that's not a big puncher. And for him to go in the ring with Provodnikov, if he's not in tip top shape, he obviously would get stopped in that fight too. Okay, but that's the only fight I can see them pushing if he were to come back. And as far as Bradley, it's still sky's the limit. You know, him and Teddy seems to be cool. They seem to want to still work with each other. And hopefully we could get that Kell Brook fight, you know, or, you know, whatever, you know. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. And make sure you guys subscribe. Peace.